What is up guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nouman and today's analysis video is going to be about the Champions League game between Real Madrid and Chelsea. So Chelsea, as usual, lined up in a 3-4-3 formation, which mostly changed to 3-2-5 with the ball and 5-3-2 without the ball. While Real Madrid, on the other hand, lined up in a 4-3-3 formation on paper, but their formation on the ground was mostly 3-5. As they tried to match Chelsea by keeping a 3-5 formation with Vinicius Jr. playing as the wingback with Hazard and Benzema up front. So today's video is sponsored by OneFootball. OneFootball is an app where you can find all the latest transfer news and stats about teams and players. So please don't forget to download the app. I'll put the link in the description. So Real Madrid started the game really well. They were dominating possession and they were making it difficult for Chelsea to keep hold of the ball. So this is how the two teams were lined up on the ground whenever Real Madrid tried to build their play from the back. The front three of Chelsea were trying to press the back three of Real Madrid. The Chelsea wingbacks were covering the two Real Madrid wingbacks, with the centre-backs taking care of Benzema, Eden Hazard and Luka Modric. Eden Hazard was often dropping deep during the build-up phase to create an overload and help his team during the build-up phase. So one of Jorginho or N'Golo Kante was often staying behind to provide protection to his defense, while the other midfielder was tracking the runs of Eden Hazard, who was constantly dropping deep to receive the ball during the build-up phase. Since one of the Chelsea's midfielders was often staying behind, so that gave Real Madrid a man advantage in the first phase of the build-up, which helped Real Madrid to open the passing lanes and build their play with ease. Since Eden Hazard was constantly dropping deep, so one of the Chelsea midfielders was often forced to stay behind to keep track of Eden Hazard, which meant that Real Madrid were able to outnumber Chelsea in the first phase of build-up, as they had one midfielder who was free from any marking thanks to Eden Hazard's deeper position. Since Jorginho was busy tracking Eden Hazard, so that often forced Mason Mount to drop in the midfield to cover Luka Modric, leaving Militao totally free, as Real Madrid were able to create a man advantage in the first phase of build-up just by dropping Eden Hazard in the midfield and by forcing Jorginho not to move up during the pressing phase. Nacho to Courtois, and now Ramos and Militao are totally free to receive the ball and help Real Madrid in the build-up. Eder Militao receives the ball, and now Mason Mount is left in a 1v2 position against Militao and Modric. Benzema drops deep to receive the ball from Militao, and he lays it off to Modric, who is now totally free in the midfield, thanks to Eden Hazard, who was able to drag Jorginho away from the midfield to help Real Madrid create a 2v1 position against Mason Mount. Benzema to Modric, and as he drops deep, he drags Rudiger out of his line to open the space in the defense for the one of Vinicius Jr. Here again, we can see that N'Golo Kante and Jorginho were not fully helping their front three during the pressing phase, as they were looking to keep track of Eden Hazard and Benzema, who were constantly dropping in the midfield to create an overload. So that often gave Real Madrid the chance to isolate the front three of Chelsea in a 1v2 position. The problem for Real Madrid was not on the build-up, as they were able to outnumber Chelsea in the first phase of build-up. Their issues mainly started when they tried to enter the defensive third of Chelsea, as Chelsea kept a tight man marking on the front line of Real Madrid, and that forced the front players to often receive the ball with their backs towards the goal. As soon as the ball was played to one of the front players, they were immediately put under pressure to ensure that they don't get any time or space on the ball, which made it quite difficult for Real Madrid's front players to turn with the ball, and they were often forced to go back to their defense. Eden Hazard at times was able to use that tight man marking to drag the Chelsea centre-backs out of their line to open the space in the defense, but Real Madrid were very poor in the final third. Eden Hazard drops deep, and he pulls Christensen out of his line, and he flicks the ball in the path of Benzema before making a run in the open space. Chelsea's centre-backs, on the other hand, played a big part when it came to building their offensive play. Real Madrid without the ball mostly tried to create a strong central overload. They did not try to press the Chelsea centre-backs, and they instead tried to sandwich the double pivot of Chelsea using their front two and the two midfielders Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. Casemiro was often playing in between the lines to provide protection to his defense. So that often put all the burden of building the play on the shoulders of the wide Chelsea centre-backs, who actually did a wonderful job of attacking these half spaces to build Chelsea's offensive play. No pressure on the Chelsea centre-backs, who are given time and space on the ball. Real Madrid are mainly trying to block the centre passing options, and they are forcing the centre-backs to either step out or go long. Just look at the free spaces that the Chelsea centre-backs had to step into. Again, no pressure on the centre-backs, as Real Madrid were mainly trying to block the centre passing lanes, and that gave Chelsea the chance to directly link the play from the defense to offense, as Madrid were very narrow through the middle. And during that process, Chelsea were able to drag the Real Madrid centre-backs out of their defense to open the gaps in the defense. This time, Kai Havertz drops in between the lines and he gets the attention of Casemiro. Casemiro is now left in a 1v2 position, which means N'Golo Kante is totally free to receive the ball from Christensen. Since Casemiro was left in a 1v2 position, so Nacho leaves his line to cover N'Golo Kante, with Mendy stepping out to cover Azpilicueta. N'Golo Kante was able to dribble past Nacho, and this is where things go wrong for Real Madrid. Casemiro leaves Kai Havertz and he steps out to stop N'Golo Kante, and now Chelsea have a 3v2 position and Chelsea scored the goal. Unlike Real Madrid, Chelsea's front players did a wonderful job of dragging the Real Madrid centre-backs out of their defense to open the gaps in the Madrid defense. Kai Havertz stopping deep, forcing Ramos out of his line and opening the space in the defense for Christensen to pick the run of Timo Werner. It was too easy for Chelsea to get into Real Madrid's defensive third with just one long pass over the top. Chelsea had so many chances to score goals and finish this game with at least 4 goals, as suggested by their XG of 3.68. But just like the previous games, Chelsea were lacking that final finishing touch to put this game to the bed. Despite their scoring troubles, Chelsea are getting the results thanks to their rock-solid defense. And one man who deserves special appreciation is Edouard Mendy. If it wasn't for his 2 crucial saves, the result could have been very different. Zidane is yet to win a game against Thomas Tuchel. In their 6 encounters so far, Tuchel has drawn 4 and won 2, and he is yet to lose a game against Zidane. Thomas Tuchel is also the first manager in history to reach 2 consecutive Champions League finals with 2 different clubs. Chelsea will now face Manchester City in the final of this season's Champions League on the 29th of May. So who do you think is going to win the Champions League? Comment below and let me know. Thank you so much guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.